It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tyrone Lowe. This is my show, The Legends, and I want to thank everybody all over the world that actually subscribes and show me love. And I thank you guys for that. In the House of the Legends, man, this guy is really special, man. I've done some research on him. He's quite incredible. And in the House of the Legends, I bring you LaDelle Beamon. What's going on, LaDelle?
Hey, what's going on there, sir? Feeling good. How about you?
Oh, man, I'm blessed, man, and so are you, my brother, you know?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Tell the viewers where you're based at, and let's tell a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm actually originally from the city of Memphis, Tennessee. That's where I am. Birthplace of the blues, home of the rock and roll via Elvis Presley, and
Right,
I just happen to be the founder and CEO of Heal the Hood Foundation of Memphis, which is
mhm,
a arts-based organization that really uses the arts and music and anything
right,
that you can think of arts related to really be able to change society's views as we have learned to know and think of.
right. And how did you actually say to yourself? I mean, you said to yourself, "I want to do something for the community. I want to change kids' lives." And you probably seen the direction that it was actually going to, and you want to put it to a halt and actually converse it into something or make it some type of transformation for them to see something more positive. Am I right?
Yeah, for me, just growing up in Memphis, I'm from the inner city, and the
Right.
thing about it, me being from the inner city, I saw it. As a matter of fact, Isaac Hayes actually had a home around the corner from where I
Okay.
stayed in the inner city, and it was crazy
Hmm.
because I was one of those kids that could have ended up on America's Most Wanted had it
Hmm.
not been for the arts transforming my life. So it was me putting the clarinet in my hand when I was in the sixth grade, getting ready to
Hmm.
go to creative and performing arts and
Right.
performing arts schools. And I just saw a lot that ended up happening from me journeying back to the inner city, from going to a Colonial Creative and Performing Arts School, and actually Overton, where I'm in the back lot doing this interview. This is my high school. And it was crazy because we hosted Grammy in the schools here. So I actually saw people like Larry Blackman from Cameo actually
Right.
come to my school when I was coming up. And it was
Okay.
those definitive moments that
Hmm.
allowed my mind to shift. And so when I saw kids dying and getting killed, I realized it was because they couldn't escape the box that they
Right.
were in. They didn't see the things I saw. So the difference is my exposure versus what they were exposed to. And so I realized it was my responsibility to be able to expose them to something that was different.
You know, I call it lack of interest, lack of encouragement, man, because a lot of kids grow up without mentors,
Yeah.
and without mentors in a kid's life, it doesn't give them direction, and they are a prey for negative attraction. Do you agree?
Absolutely. A lot of the kids that when you look at the music that's out here in the recording industry and the stuff that's going on,
Hmm.
I often say, and it's very strange that as African Americans, we are the only race of people that music is predominantly it is dominating the charts with negative images of ourselves.
Right.
And if you're like me, who grew up without a father, I didn't
Hmm.
have that in my life to really be able to show me a different change of life. But it was some mentors and people that were introduced to me that showed me a better way of
Right.
life. And if that didn't happen, I would
Hmm.
have been in a lot of trouble. And so I'm just grateful for the mentors that showed me that it is something different out there other than, selling drugs on the street and degrading
Right.
people.
Well, I happen to be one of the lucky ones. I grew up without a mother and a father. My grandmother and
Wow.
my aunt was actually my mother and my father. But I was lucky enough to be around a positive type of atmosphere condition where they actually taught me the ropes. They even taught me about what women likes.
Well, see,
you know, I mean, really, and due to the fact that I've seen a lot of kids, it was very ironic for me because where I lived at, one gang was up one block and the other gang was on the other block. So I would walk out my door and they talk about you drafted. I'm like, this ain't the Army, man. You know what
What?
I'm saying? Yes.
Wow.
And so it got kind of crazy for me because I'm looking at myself saying that they want to draft me here and they want to draft me there. And I went through conflicts. I went through fights. And I told them straight up, man, they gave me respect and I fought back.
Yeah.
Because a gang is a gang member is a person that doesn't fight alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was actually lucky to be one of those kids that had a direction. And women are good for giving kids directions. And I must say that because they gave me direction. So getting back to you, man, how did you actually come up with the format to actually encourage the kids?
It was what was done to me. I'm under the formula that once a person's mind has been expanded, it can no longer be reduced to its former stage. And so I had a kid when I was 19 when I first started in a career of doing what I'm doing now, and acting, traveling up and down the East Coast acting. And it was a kid that was traveling with us, and when we got back, he disappeared for for a couple of months, and I didn't know what had happened to him.
Right.
And at the end of the day, seeing him disappear and then reappear, he told me that he had went to Job Corp in Virginia to get his life together. And long story short, he wanted to reconnect, and he told me, he said, I want to do plays and I want to do all the acting stuff with you. I didn't know that he was a Crip at the time. I had no idea.
Right.
And he never made it back to Job Corp in Virginia. I never saw him again because they found him on Faro Street in South Memphis.
Wow, that is so sad.
Yeah, brains blown out through the back of his head. And what got me at that point was the police were trying to find out who murdered Marvin Robinson. And they couldn't find him, but it took the community putting on these T-shirts, spray paint, using art, and drew it on their T-shirts. We love Marvin Robinson, and the murderer came forward 2 weeks later, and it was his best friend. And
wow,
because they were Crips, and his friend thought that he was leaving him behind. And so from that moment on, I saw that the arts was really, really integral in getting people's attention, and you feel valuable when you're being connected and you're using the arts to get your voice out there, and people are applauding and celebrating you. And I wanted young people to know that they could be celebrated for doing something positive that brings value to them, where they're giving that same energy, positive energy back. And that did it for me, seeing Marvin Robinson killed. And that was years ago, but since then we lost other kids that have been murdered in the streets of Memphis. And it gives me that fuel to not give up, but to keep moving. And so to this day, we reached a little bit over 500,000 kids in Memphis.
Okay.
We work with Master P. We work with his daughter, Symphonique Miller, Robert Townsend, Keenan Ivory Wayans, Shabadoo, the late great Shabadoo, just passed a couple of years ago. So many different celebrities have been attracted and drawn to, come alongside of us and help us with our mission.
I want to put my hats off to Shabadoo, man, because I did a little research on him, and he's really, really, really a good brother. And his death I know it took a toll on a lot of people because it was so sudden. But then again, I don't like the part that even though he did a lot, he wasn't actually commended or put out there as far as the work that he did. I think he was actually robbed of that. I mean, do you agree?
Yes. And you know what? I'm thank you for the platform, because we get a chance to share this. We were the last project that Shabadoo was working with before he passed, and we filmed a documentary. We didn't know that this was going to happen, but we were just filming and getting stuff ready, because in 2024, street dance becomes a part of the Olympics, and so a lot of that. Shabadoo is a godfather of street dance, and so we filmed a documentary called The Get Down. It's a docu-music film, and it's about Shabadoo talking about what he was going to do and what we were working on. And so we're fast forwarding now and getting that project out there so that so many people can see it. But we have what's called the Power of Dance, and it's going to really be able to allow his legacy to push forward. So we got a story to tell.
Okay. So what would be your concept to make children into authoritarians, man? Because it's too much of them actually being followers. And I think that's a basic problem where they can't really. I mean, I know that peer pressure can be something else as far as growing up, to be a part of. But what would you think your concept would be, as even what you're doing now will be a concept for them to be authoritarians?
I think directing them, putting them on their own plight, because when I say that, we have a lot of kids that are carbon copies of other things that is out here that's not really who they are. And so what we use is actually we give kids like a small test to kind of gauge on what their interests are. And once we gauge them on what their interests are, we're able to start tapping into who they really are. Because if you don't teach a kid who they really are, they'll become somebody else.
Right.
And that's the thing for us, is to really be able to get in their face, show them what they're good at, and then help them start to develop who they are. Because I think that's the thing for a lot of us. We don't know who we are.
Right,
our identities have been robbed for over 400 years. When our ancestors got here, and I think that social media and this quick fame, this quick likes, a million likes, all this stuff that we're chasing, it makes us lose ourselves so we can become something else. And so that's our ongoing project, is to really be able to teach kids how to tap into their own destiny, so they won't pursue somebody else's destiny. So that's big for us.
I totally agree with you, man. I also feel that technology has also robbed their identity as well.
Yes.
Because back in the days, I grew up more of a more manual type of labor type of situation and then when technology actually took its force, it took the kids by storm, to the fact where they wasn't actually being themselves, because everything was so instant gratified just by hitting an enter button.
Yes. And that's what, I was almost a victim of getting caught up in that same thing too. And even as an adult, you struggle with it, because you're doing the best version of you, but sometimes you see people race past you that are just carbon copies of things that are out there in the industry. And we tell kids all along, for a young lady, you think about, for a young lady to be celebrated, she may look nice on social media, but because she's clothed, she doesn't get as much likes and attention as a girl who's half naked on social media. So now we have this saying, a woman who drops her self-respect is naked before her clothes ever even come off. And it's because here it is that she's trying to become somebody else by losing herself, so that she can feel value. And that's the crazy part about it. We lose ourselves so that we can find value in becoming the person that we're not. Right. And that's the strangest part about it. So I really think that social media, what it's done for so many people, it's allowed us to they had this thing, what's that movie? They cloning Tyrone. And so
I seen that. I seen that. Yeah.
And so that's what's happening to us. We're a clone version of what's being presented in front of us all the time. And so I almost got lost in there, but I had to realize that in order for somebody to be outstanding, they have to stand out. And so the only way you're going to stand out is to be yourself and find power in being yourself. In social media, we got to be so careful that those likes don't become our God that we're chasing.
Right, exactly. Well, LaDelle, we're going to take a little break. We're going to come back, man. And viewers, you got to see this. There's a powerful message in this, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
Don't turn around. You ain't really down. Playing the games you do. Someday, everything will be alright. And different people make the world go round.
And it's all because of you, my dreams are coming true.
You're the sun that erases my rainy day.
Right now, I don't care who's watching.
For whatever the reason there might be.
With your love by my side, the world will be mine. You're the one for me.
Yeah.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
fun people in the house tonight.
This is our house.
And we're back. This is my show, The Legends, and in the house of the legends, we have LaDelle Beamon. What's up, LaDelle?
Hey, sir. So
You
happy
know,
to be with you.
we touched on a lot of bases now. I want to get into the educational part of it as far as education, because I believe that regardless of what a child is going through their journey of childhood, I think that education is actually their way out. Now, some people think that, but I might say that kids growing up today feel that when they get like a platinum status in a recording studio and things of that nature, that's their way out. But I think education is key. What do you feel about that?
I do. You know what? It goes back to what I was saying earlier. Once a person's mind has been expanded, it can no longer be reduced to its former state. And it's the more that you learn. A lot of people that have been on destructive paths, and we're in school. The thing that I really value about school is that there's a contagious atmosphere that happens when you get around a system of learning. Because it triggers something inside of you, because other people are learning and being involved in
Right.
becoming educated, to the point that if you're paying attention in those atmospheres, you're going to soak in something. And so I love like the recording industry side of it is cool, when people start getting out there to perform and all of that. But when you get behind the scenes and start learning literally
Right.
what it takes to run the recording industry, the people that are making the most money aren't the people that are in front of the microphones or in front of the camera all the time. It's the ones that are literally behind the scenes, that are writers, producers, directors, people that took their education to the next level to learn.
Right.
I got kids right now that are limited because they can't read contracts. And so when the music industry or any aspect of the industry sets down a thick piece of paper, thick volumes of paper in front of you, and you cannot read, you can't even comprehend what they're putting in front of you, they control your life. So if you're not educated, those that are educated will control the uneducated people's lifestyles.
Okay. So what has been your success rate so far? I mean, as far as to really get these kids' attention?
The Wake Up Tour, what we travel with, is something that I really consider one of our claim to fame, because we travel inside of all of these different schools. That's how we reach so many kids.
Right.
And for us, that's what brought in Master P to us. It attracted Master P because we were going inside of different schools, which we still do it to this day, with different recording artists. And the kids, it's like putting on a mini concert with messages. With skits and acting and singing and dancing, and at the end, the kids have an opportunity to make decisions. And so we've had kids that have turned in their guns at the end of what we've done. We had one where 30 girls, a little bit over 30 girls, they were crying and in tears, and they had to go to the guidance counselor because from the material that we did, they confessed to their guidance counselor that they had been molested. These were 8th grade girls.
Wow.
And so I think when you have learned how to navigate and use your artistry as a tool for good instead of a weapon of destruction, move mountains. And so the Wake Up Tour is one of our greatest claim to fame, because that is something that not only gets us in front of kids, but it also attracts stars to the platform, because they want to share their thing too. They want to be on the platform, share their messages.
I feel at this stage right now that spirituality should also be a key that's added to the concept of how they actually should be, because it starts from the home and it takes you abroad. And I believe that if the parent embezzle that inside of a child and make them God-fearing, I believe that they would actually, conduct themselves in a way that they are supposed to be, and know the negative from the positive. You understand what I'm saying?
Wow.
So my whole thing is that I love what you're doing, man, and your message is so powerful. Are you going to take this nationwide?
Yes. Here's a weird part about it. You're gonna laugh at me when I say this, but we've been as far as Alaska. And went to Alaska, and it was so weird. We were there 9 days, and I was thinking, I'm like, what is this black guy from the inner city gonna have to say in Alaska. And we were in the parts of Alaska to where, to be honest with you, I was the only black person
Wow.
there in
Wow.
that certain radius. And it was a Kawak Thorn Bay, Ketchikan, Alaska. I'm there with Young Life, which is a group that does a lot of ministry work, and I'm there with
Right.
and I'm like, God, what am I gonna say to kids that don't look like me and may not be from the same inner city background, but to find out that there were kids that were broken. And their whole thing is depression, suicide, alcoholism, drug abuse, and believe it or not, incest that's going on there in Alaska. And for me to see families being restored, dads who got out the message that I had on the islands over there, because that's what Alaska is, broken up into all these islands. And so the message gets out, and they have this huge meeting on a Sunday at one of the churches. And once we got back from taking the kids camping and doing all this stuff, one of the kids, his father, he hadn't seen his father in years. His father came to the church to meet me in the presence of this kid, and it restored their whole family because of what we were talking about and the empowerment and the impact. And I thank God for that, because I'm like, I'm out of South Memphis from the inner city in Alaska. What am I doing? I feel like I'm out of water. But the same thing that reached these kids in the inner city was the same thing that could reach these broken kids that were on the island in Alaska. So yeah.
Well, that broken trend is all over the world, man. It'd be nice if you can catch all that, that would be because what you're doing is actually part of God's work, man. You're going against a force that's going against a force. You understand what I'm saying? And the message has to be, but that's exactly what it is. It's a force going against a force, man. We deal every day with forces. We do things. We say we don't want to do something. We end up doing it anyway because it becomes a comfortability with us.
Wow.
And due to the point that we are at that point, then we realize that we hit a brick wall, because the great I.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So therefore, through our testimonies and our messages, we are able to reach other people to let them know that we are a miracle today.
Absolutely.
And this is what we have to do to try to make you part of my miracle. My question to you, LaDelle, is anybody that wants to get into the source of what you're doing right now, how can they actually and fundamentally apply themselves?
I tell people, today I got up and when I came to our facility today, it was really about me reflecting. I took the whole journey to reflect about where my life was and what keeps happening with these kids. And I never did get into any major trouble. But the thing with me is that I battled suicide. I battled, being broken, because I didn't have my dad in my life. And so I think that in order for us, and I challenge people to really kind of do a self-reflection, deal with your inner hurts and match that to what you find your satisfaction in. And I say that because in me helping people, it helped me. I didn't realize how powerful it was until I started using the talents that I have collected over a period of time to start helping people with those talents. It started helping me. I felt better about myself. My self-esteem started increasing, and I started realizing where I'm going. And so I would tell people to start with a self-reflection of yourself, and then find out what it is that you love to do, that even if you didn't get paid, you would still do it anyway, and connect with those that have done it well enough that now they have established themselves in a really productive career. That's what I would encourage people.
So my question to you is that let's talk about some future events that's coming up for you guys, so the viewers will actually know about it, and maybe can connect to some of those contents.
Yeah, next up for us, we're building what's called our major thing is that we're building what's called the Hero Empowerment Center. It's an arts-based micro city.
Okay.
here in Memphis. So it's like picking up Universal Studios and planting it here. But
Right.
it's a micro city. It's filled with the arts. And so what we're doing now is that we're doing all these mini events that lead up until the culmination of our groundbreaking. And so we just did something huge with Stephen Russell, the
Okay.
Legacy Pop-Up Summit.
Right.
Stephen Russell from Troop. Shout out to Miriam Graham for
Of course,
connecting
Miriam.
all
Of
the
course,
dots.
no doubt.
Miriam is an angel for
Man,
me.
she's like a blessing in disguise, man. I mean, really, really, she is.
I,
And my hat's off to her as well.
Yeah, so Miriam is at the forefront of a lot of these projects that we have. She actually is the stuff that we're doing now that she's working in conjunction with that related to Stephen Russell is blowing into something that we can't discuss right now, but
Right.
it's about to happen because it's all because of Miriam. But it's that we have what's called the pop-up summit. The pop-up summit is coming up soon. So on our on our website, hthmemphis.org, all of our latest updates comes. That's how we ended up working with Michael Jai White, action star Michael Jai White, and he's become like a brother to me. But we deal with a lot of celebrities on those platforms, and so we host those platforms because we want the celebrities to be able to tangibly touch their fans and their arts base, and also be able to impact them. And so please look out for that on our website. That's coming up too. It's called the Evolution Pop Culture Summit. That's what's going to be next for us, as well as our benefit dinner October 14th. And that's a fundraiser that we're doing to raise money to build the arts-based micro city.
Okay, that's great. So as far as fundings are concerned, I guess you guys can get in contact with LaDelle for information on that.
Absolutely.
This is a very, very important project where we can turn a lot of kids around. And of course, maybe you're watching this right now. Maybe you need your own child turned around, and maybe you have to take the initiative of actually going into the introductory level of actually reaching out to you guys so they can get them help as well. As you were saying,
I'm gonna tell you what's cool. We were it's like one of the things that got me. We were doing school tours. As we do school tours, I was really depressed after one of them. Not that the tour wasn't going well, but it was the fact that we did the tour and then I got home and turned on the news, and then you see somebody else getting murdered, and you're like, what? And it's like it's overwhelming to a point. So I said, this is what we're going to do, and that's what made us start making movies, because we wanted to be able to capture the solution, introduce the problem, but introduce a solution at the same time, so that we can get these movies out quicker and it can travel to areas that we couldn't be physically. But so we do have movies that are available now.
Oh, that's
deal with
great.
all types
That's
of
very
stuff.
good.
We had Stupid Decision on the Wrong Day, the mix-up that deals with date rape on college campuses. We had Gone Viral that deals with young people misusing social media and what can happen from that. Just detention, just a whole lot of film projects that are out here that are short enough, no cussing involved. You don't have to worry about any nudity, so the whole family can watch it, and it's very impactful.
Okay. Well, you know what? It's been a pleasure. I mean, a pleasure to have you on my show, man. Do come again. You get my information from Miriam, and if you want to get on the show again, no problem. This has been another T. Lowe video production. My guest, LaDelle Beamon, and you guys have a nice day and stay tuned and for another episode. Thank you very much.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.